I have tried to gain distance for the past 2 years I've been playing disc golf. But the only problem with that is that it's hard. I've watched all kinds of videos, I've tried using a tech disc, I've bought faster discs, I've bought new shoes, and I even got a new bag. So the PDGA is going to try and put me in jail. And that's because I'm going to artificially throw farther. I have came up with this revolutionary idea that'll give me an advantage against everybody I play against. And it's called cheating. According to the PDGA, an illegal disc is when there are modifications after the original production. This includes modifying a disc that changes its flight, excessive sanding, adding a material with a detectable thickness, and intentionally deforming a disc so it is no longer a saucer shape. So the idea for today is that we are going to use these illegal methods to try and make a disc fly farther and test them both out in an open field and on a few holes on a course. This whole idea came from when I heard that you can cut a hole in a frisbee and it'll give it less weight, along with some other physics that I don't really understand. The discs that are going to be used today are mostly going to consist of Thunderbirds because they're probably my favorite disc that just goes straight and fades. And for reference, I can throw a normal Thunderbird pretty comfortably around 350 to 375 feet. So for this to be a successful experiment, the goal is to try and get a modified Thunderbird over 400 feet. Finally, over in the science lab and not the middle of my kitchen, I had everything I needed to actually craft some of these designs that I have been brainstorming. Let me get gloves for I don't accidentally illegally modify my fingers off. And yes, I am very aware that I look like a great value dentist. The first two designs were pretty simple as I was just testing what this idea stemmed from by using a drill to make a smaller hole and a bigger hole in two different Thunderbirds. For the next design, have you ever seen one of them Huck Lab discs with like the black shuriken looking stamp on the top of it? Usually the person that would spend way too much money on a disc would have one of these. So that is exactly what this next design is going to be. I made my own cut lines for this one, and for some reason I tried to get the exact spot of where these needed to be placed. I tried doing this by getting the diameter and then using the diameter to get the circumference and then dividing by 3 and trying to take a tape measure and marking every single spot until I realized that I could just use my eyes to be able to see an equal distance between the 3 spots. Cutting this out made me realize I have no idea how to actually use power tools, and it took me like 30 minutes, and it looks horrendous. So, yeah. Sorry, Dad. For the fourth design, I got a 100 pack of thumbtacks to put a bunch of holes into the disc. There was a slight worry that they wouldn't be able to go through a disc, but thankfully they were able to. Oh! It did! Also couldn't help but think about that one guy on Instagram called Lethal Shooter who makes a bunch of basketball hoops with a bunch of nails in them. For my last two designs, I kind of got carried away from the main purpose of trying to gain distance because I seen this foundation video where Trevor cut 2 discs in half, one overstable, one understable, and then stuck them back together. And in their video, the disc flew in between the 2 discs, and that was kind of crazy for me to see. So I wanted to try this for myself by using 2 completely different types of discs, which one was a putter and then the other was a distance driver. Yeah, I'm playing Frisbee. After cutting them in half, I stuck them together using Gorilla Glue and duct tape, which everybody knows that is just as good as welding them together. For the last design, I wanted to do the same thing as the previous one, but with 4 different discs. With 1 putter, 1 mid-range, 1 fairway, and then 1 distance driver. Sticking these together was the same process as last time, but I felt like a kid in kindergarten finger painting a Thanksgiving turkey because my tube of glue had busted. And I'm just kind of absolutely covered in it. But I did get it to come together, and it ended up looking like one of them little Simon Says games. And don't worry, all the usable scrap from these discs aren't going to go to waste, as I'm going to be sending them to Trash Panda. But there wasn't an option for random pieces of trash from discs, so I'm going to be sending it along with 25 of my own discs. Over in the field, we would have been able to get a really good look at what these discs can do if it wasn't for 33-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
Oh, there it goes.
So for the first discs test, I had to remove all the thumbtacks because I prefer my hand to not look and feel like I stuck it in a blender for breakfast. But there was a slight oversight with this disc because the holes created from the thumbtacks weren't very big, so I'm not completely sure if these made a difference or not. But this disc didn't really seem consistent, as one time it was very stable and then the other time it was super flippy. As for the two discs with the holes in the middle of them, the smaller one remained pretty stable, as not a lot of weight was removed from the actual disc. As for the bigger hole disc, it turned into a complete roller, most likely because the hole was too big, making it lose too much weight in the process. Now for the discs I am most excited for. This Huck Lab disc I tried to make might have turned into one of the coolest discs ever. Now, this one didn't go very far.
Oh.
But it probably had one of the straightest flights I have ever seen. This one was basically a Berg, but with a much more comfortable grip. And I'm not really sure how, but it wasn't really affected by the wind at all.
That one flies so straight. It just doesn't go anywhere.
Next, we had the half putter, half destroyer, and I'm a little disappointed in this one because there's not too much to say about it. It just kind of turned into a roller.
Huh.
And finally, for the 4-piece Simon Says looking disc, this one turned out to be really cool because there was 4 different possible grips, and it actually ended up being really beginner friendly, being able to get a full S-flight without throwing it that hard. So the last test that I wanted to do with these discs was on a course, playing a few holes and seeing if I could birdie with them. I played 4 holes in total, and the first one here was basically dead straight, just 360 feet. And I don't know if you could tell from the testing, but my discs weren't super well suited for distance, so I kind of just involuntarily laid up. But this is where I learned that the half putter, half destroyer was actually a really cool putter. This had all the benefits of the putter with the grip, but then it also had benefits of the driver having effortless putting distance, which ended up being a tap-in par here. The next hole was basically dead straight for about 310 feet, but I tried throwing it on too much hyzer, and I completely shanked it. Then I also messed up this layup trying to run it, and it landed in an awful spot, and I got a bogey here.
Oh!
Next was this really cool par 4 where you have to go through this gap and then all the way across the field to get to the basket. I went with the pincushion disc here because I thought it was slightly flippier, and it ended up way left. Then I had an absolutely terrible forehand, but I got the approach after that right under the basket for a tap-in par.
Oh, that was perfect.
The last hole I was testing this with was this laser straight tunnel for about 280 feet,
If I go higher
which
this time,
was perfect for my Huck Lab disc. And this one was able to get all the way to about 20
that
feet
might do
away
it.
from the basket.
push. Okay, we got a putt. Okay. This is probably one of the most nerve-wracking putts I've ever had. Yes! Oh!
And I swear, this was definitely my first throw on this hole.
Oh, please skip. I'm gonna throw it again. Hold up. Stay there.
So there's a lot of information to actually process here, but a lot of these discs turned out to be more fun than I was expecting. So my original goal of trying to throw farther, was it successful? No, absolutely not. Discs today seem to be pretty well optimized that companies are just blatantly copying each other. So some goofball in the kitchen isn't just going to be able to reinvent the wheel here. But this doesn't take away from the fact that many of these discs turned out to be really, really cool. Like the Huck Lab discs, for example. Except for when it comes to being a backup cereal bowl. Before I go, I just want to say thank you for watching, and for watching my first video, as it did so much better than I could have ever imagined. So, thank you. As for the future, I plan on having a new video every 3 to 4 weeks, so maybe consider subscribing. And if you haven't watched my first video yet, you can click on it right here to go watch it.